Good evening, Jace.
Good evening, Sean.
How are you this evening in your hobby center over there?
Oh, it's pretty good. This is like the first hobby I've got to do in like 2 weeks because I only really get hobby time when we're talking.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The rest of
Jay,
it's all just spent doing homework.
right. I think you're on like about a 1 second delay for whatever reason tonight, but that's probably just the internets of the world. But so if you hear a small pause, that's just Jace. I can hear myself processing on his end. So um, just so you guys know, we are
Interesting.
expected to have Ben in with us tonight as well. He's just traveling to get to wherever he needs to be to log in with us. So we're going to do a little bit of basically preamble on the show. We'll get to wherever we get to. We'll pump Ben in. He's going to just give us a little kind of a boots on the ground update from Gen Con. He attended, give us the sense of that. I got a little bit of a pic collage that he shared over, and I just put it into a little bit of a video a clip for you guys, so you guys can entertain yourselves while you watch that. Um, we'll talk a little bit about our This Week in Legion and some more things coming up, Patreon, studio stuff, promos, giveaways, all that good stuff that we do. And then I'm going to talk specifically about my week in Legion, which was the Dianoga scenario that I played. And then we're going to get into the round five reveals, which everyone is eagerly here anticipating. So we'll try to keep it around that
Woo!
time. We also have a round table at the end. Of course, we'll save some time for that, but going to try to keep it around that 90-minute mark. Depending, I won't shortchange anyone in round table and or Ben. But let's crack into it. So last week in Legion, we'll do the league signups. We've already kind of done that. If you missed out on that, that's fine. AMG events, of which was the Gen Con, and then just having fun in Legion. Again, I put that in there because while the topic was applicable to just kind of having fun in Legion, casual, blah blah blah, having fun in Legion was something I echoed this weekend rather, past when I played my first of scenarios in Legion ever. I'd never played the crashed pod or any of those other ones before. I still haven't played those, but I did play the Dianoga one, and it was super fun. I also was gifted a Dianoga here, nicely painted, and we're going to try to run that Friday if I can find some players. Jace is camping, I think, this weekend. Jace, is that what you got going on? Camping?
Yeah, we're camping with my grandparents the next 2 weekends before it gets too cold.
Right. And
Because
then
it's almost September, which means winter.
yeah, fair. And then Anthony is moving, so both guys have a great excuse. So I'll either find some players, and or we'll skip another Friday. I know don't want to do that too often, but we'll just kind of work through the end of the summer. It's kind of busy for people as we gear into. But I think when we hit September through the winter season, as Jace has put it here, I think we'll have a lot of regular Legion, and I think we've done a pretty good job getting some regular Legion in. I think we are like one or two episodes away from 200 here total. So we have that. Before we get into too many things, I'm just keeping an eye on my phone as well, just checking with Ben. Let's give some shout outs here. Do you have the chat up, Jace? Do you want to give the shout outs?
Yeah, you bet. So from the I only get the chat up from when Sean starts, but I see Canadian Bears in here giving us our greetings along with Chronic Canuck. Timothy McLeod, I don't know if he's been on previous weeks. I've been gone the past couple.
I haven't seen
But if you
Timothy
are
before.
new, welcome, and if you're returning, it is yeah nice to see you. Nightbringer as well. I don't think I've seen Nightbringer before, but good day to you as well. Bernard always checking in from Ottawa. Andrew's here. Matthias is here. A Strange Yvette is here. Morgan Coolidge from South Carolina checking in. Again, hello and welcome. Tom Walker's coming in. He says he's his standard spot behind Bernard. Them always coming in first and second to be here. Someone's got to get here early enough to dethrone these guys.
I
They're
think
letting it get to their heads.
Travis came in about an hour and a half early. I think last week I posted
Oh,
just
there we go.
I got it up early, and he jumped in to get the first. So, yep.
Oh, there we go. Good job, Travis. Sean Death is also here, along with Brian from Phoenix Games. Hello, all. One of our awesome sponsors. And Anthony and Stan are chilling with us as well.
They are. Welcome, fellas. If you guys come in a little late, just let us know. Like I said, we won't. We'll get to the league reveals, but of course, we want to build some hype and anticipation around that. Of course. So we'll do the stock standard intro stuff here. We'll do our This Week in Legion, B. Smith jumping in as well. We'll kind of rip through all the social medias and all that thing. And then we'll jump back. We'll fill in the My Week in Legion, and then we'll hopefully have Ben in. If not, we'll string you along a bit more until we get into the reveals. So I'll do this while Jace is hobby in there. I know he's doing some magnetization. So if you are looking for us on the social medias, you can find us in the Star Wars Legion Facebook universe. We are at Friday Night Fights. If you're looking for ways to support the show, follow some things that are happening in studio, or get in on some of the perks, you can find those at www.patreon.com/terrain. I have another little update on the Patreon, a couple updates actually that I want to share specifically around that. Don't forget, folks, that all the videos that are done for the Patreon are also given out free a few months later. So if you don't want to support us, but you still want to consume the content, we appreciate that too. You guys can do that as well. So I don't really like to have things behind paywalls exclusive, because I'm a teacher by trade, and I like to put out things, and I like to do things, of course, time and energy and money and equipment, that all costs. So we try to recoup some of those on the front end to give it out on the back end. So that's how that kind of works. If you're looking for us on Twitter and or the Instagrams, you can find us at Legion_FNF, and that is where we are at. Of course, if you don't get your fill and you want to find us, we are usually here again every Friday in and around that 8:30 CST. When the time change switches back, we'll go a bit earlier, so it'll be nicer for our East Coast friends. So right now it's at 8:30 CST, but we do go back to 7:30 CST at that point in the year. So come check us out there. Of course, we got to thank our sponsors who help us with Friday Night Fights each and every week. Deep Cut Studios for the gaming mats that we use each and every week, as well as LegionTerrain.com, which we also feature a ton of their stuff. If you want to check that out, which I've seen a bunch on the Gen Con tables, the pre-paints are fantastic. Go give them a look at LegionTerrain.com. So let me slide down, Jace. Let me get into a little bit about the Dianoga. I see some people chiming in on the Dianoga stuff too, which is great. We'll have a roundtable conversation today, and if you want to chime in about that, feel free. So like I said, the Dianoga was the first time I've played the scenario. We did give away a whole bunch. I think we did like 37 prizes last weekend, Jace. I'm sure you caught some of that when Michael was down. I know you were busy that weekend, but I believe they're starting to arrive in the wilds. I think I saw OS Dad got his stuff today. I think a few other people messaged me, so they should be arriving at any point now. So we gave a bunch of these away, and I have some more to give away as well, both the tokens and the scenario cards. So we'll do that. I know that we gave some away before. Bryant is also sending a 3D print to one of the winners. I think it was Andrew that won that. But the fun thing about the Dianoga is that it is so wild and chaotic. And I want to do one Friday, and I'd like to play in it, because I got a special way that you guys could effectively trigger the Dianoga in our scenario. So I'll reveal that later if we do that this Friday. If not, we'll do it the next time. But let me talk a little bit about the games that I played. So, perfect. Bernard also got his as well on last week, near the start of this week, I guess. And is the Dianoga model a 3D print? I'm going to anticipate that Stan has a similar one to this one right here. So I know it's not in focus, but that is the model right there. So when I played Jace, I played a big Jace in game 1, and I played Donovan, one of the bros, in game 2. So I got to hang out and catch back up with Chris and Donovan. And I got to meet up with Dylan again, who I met in Saskatoon. So it's the second time he's been out. And then, of course, Les was out there. Sheldon wasn't able to make it, but was helping in the organization. So it was awesome.
Because you gave him his card sleeves, that's why.
I did give him his card sleeves.
That's why. He's not going to show up anymore.
I have no leverage on this guy. So I played the first game against Jace. He was running at Blizzard Force. You inspired him both to get back in and to play Blizzard Force. So he's been having fun with that. He's got all the models. So him and I played our third game. By the way, I think I figured out with TTS, the games I played against Michael and the Dianoga, I think I played 15 games in the span of 8 days of Legion. So my last week in Legion, pretty busy. So I got a lot in. So we played. We didn't get everything right the first time through. We missed. I think everyone actually missed this. I read it. I was like, so the Dianoga is supposed to move at the end of the command phase, and so we were thinking that it was supposed to move just when the movement happened around it. We missed that command phase trigger, so we got that sorted out at turn 3. It kind of got buried in the corner in game 1, but it ate a lot of stuff. I think the Dianoga scenario should just read, get all your suppression tokens out, you will need them. Like, I think that's what it actually should be called. It was just insane. We didn't roll a lot of damage, but we had a lot of suppression tokens out. Jason and I beat up on each other pretty badly. I was significantly out matching him in the point scoring. So we did play the full 6 turns. I finished at 14-3 was the score of the first one, which was crazy because the amount of models that got killed was insane. I was down, I think, to 1 or 2 B1 squads that were badly beat up. I had one spider droid. I had one Magna, and Kalani, I think, was still on the table. And then Jace was down to his ATST unscathed. And I think he had 1 or 2 other models on the table. So it was pretty wild, but super fun. I learned real quickly that you cannot play droids in traditional droid ball. So I was spaced out well beyond any distance I've ever been in the history of playing droids. But the real trick was just hoping that you rolled surges and blocks when your Dianoga was triggered in your enemy lines, and hope that your opponent blanked out on saves. So it's always what you're hoping for. But man, those red dice come up hot. So that was game 1. Game 2, I'll just skip to the end of game 2. I finished game 2 with Donovan at, I don't know how we managed to do it, but because the scenario reads at the bottom here, if you're not familiar, that during the end phase, players gain 1 victory point for each gas vent that token they control. So the in control means you're touching, and you have to be in base contact with no other enemy troopers. So it's not the most unit leaders. It's just like if I'm touching and you're touching, that's a no score. So you got to be touching and they can't be touching, and obviously there's 7 on there and you're all spread out. So in the game, I was significantly trailing Donovan in points, but I was way up in kills. And he had a Vader snow list, and Vader in the Dianoga scenario is fantastic because when your units have 13 suppression tokens, they still don't run away. I had multiple activations on his side with 13 plus suppression. Before they would die, and because my Dianoga was just basically piling on suppression. And you can trigger the Dianoga multiple times in a turn, and you can trigger it both on both movements. So we did a lot of like move, and snows are incredible, right? Move, shoot. They don't lose any action efficiency, and they kick that Dianoga all around. So going into the last turn of the game, I was at 9 points, and he was at 12 points. And he had Vader, 1 snowtrooper, and 3 scouts left at the end of the game. 5 models. I had more than 5 models, but was badly beaten up for sure. So on the final turn of the game, I scored 5 vents. He scored 2. The game ended at 14-14, which if you read here, if a player has 14 or more victory points, then that's also a trigger for the end of the game, or after round 6. So we scored 14-14, and our point difference at the end of the game was 69 points difference. It was so bloody. He had so many models off the table. I had so many models off the table. Suppression was stacked. It was incredible. But it was so chaotic. There was so many things happening, which one thing, it really slowed the game down, but not because we were playing slow. It's just when that Dianoga goes off and it triggers and it piles the suppression, and there's just a lot of little things happening in the game. So super, super fun. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. I had a blast doing it. I'd like to do it in studio, and I think that new players coming in, if they wanted to just get some of the mechanics down and weren't looking for a real competitive style game, and you wanted to have a lot of fun, chaotic things happen with some narrative spin to it, this would be a great entry for them. So sound off if you played the Dianoga campaign or mission, I should say, in the chat, and if you want to jump in the roundtable after, tell us how your experience went. But mine were both crazy, chaotic games and non-traditional Legion. So I had to get out of the traditional Legion brain because there was almost nothing I could do to counteract the Dianoga. So I mean, you can't block it, you can't do anything. It's just wild and crazy. So that was the thing. So while we're waiting on Ben, who's still hanging out there, Jace, let's just rip back to a couple things I wanted to kind of cover off here real quick. After the social medias played it 4 or 5 times, Andrew said, cool. I just wanted to jump in really
Nice.
quickly and talk a little bit about the Patreon updates that I got going on. So just mark this on your calendar if you want to come. Jason and I were just talking about doing this as a regular thing, like just in our hobby group, not streaming or anything like that. But on the 14th, which is a number of days from now, I think maybe even Sunday. Is that Sunday? Yes, Sunday. I will be doing a hobby hangout on the Patreon. So if you're a member on there, it doesn't matter what level you're at. I'm just going to do a live stream on there. If you want to come out, I'm going to give a big update on the wall, working on the wall. I'm working on some wall panels right now, just a small little accoutrements that go on the wall. I've finished the rack above the door, working on some door trim. I'm going to be finishing up the bullet holes. The acrylic and the glass is getting cut right now. It's coming from Australia, but it is getting cut. And then when that's all done, this wall is finished. Then I'm going to be moving on to the Gonk droids, so that'll be another full project that I'll do on there. I'll give some stills on here, but I'll do the video content for the Patreon, so you guys can check that out. In addition, I wanted to just let you guys know that where did I put that? The tokens that we talked a little bit about doing before, and I don't know if I have that screen dropped in here, but I'll just grab it real quick. The tokens that we talked about doing before, I just want to let you know that I am going to be running a short poll over on the Patreon, and really what I'm looking for is just getting some feedback on what you guys think about doing them, and if you want or are interested in said tokens. So sorry I didn't have Jace loaded up on the screen, but I'll put him in there now. So I'm going to just do a poll on there. You don't have to be a Patreon member at all, but I'm just going to control the feedback on that because it's just an easier platform for me to collect specifically. I'll know who it is that wrote it, and you will have a chance to kind of give your feedback. So look for that, probably be up tomorrow. I'll do a little splash across the Discord when I have that up. Just let me know if you're interested. It's not a pre-order or a commitment to anything like that. Just let me know if you are interested, because if I'm going to put these together, I'd like to know how many I need to order and get a sense of that. But this will be roughly what they look like. These are my mock-ups, not theirs. I'll get the official ones once I determine numbers. But yeah, so we're looking to do this black and red. It'll have the shield on one side, and it will have the activations on the other. So and then of course they'll read accordingly to whatever activation that is. We will probably, just because we have this information now, probably account for some of the configurations that happen in battle forces, because I think that's really important. So when you're trying to run those 4 tauntauns or those 4 bikes, that sort of things. 8 core may be a bit of a stretch, but you know what, I can probably be convinced. So if you want to leave the feedback over there that you think 8 core would be a mandatory, because that's the kind of army that you're going to be running, I applaud you. But you can let us know. If we get enough interest, we'll probably go ahead and add those extra core tokens in. So that's something that we have also going on at the Patreon, just another mechanism to control some of that feedback. If you aren't on the Patreon but you want to, because you want to get these card sleeves, like I said, there's 14 sets left. But hold, I did save some sets for giveaways, so we do still have some sets for giveaways. But if you want to guarantee yourself a set, and I know I saw some in the wilds as well, you guys can jump over, join into the tier 3. You got to join for August, September. You'll get a set sent out as soon as September clicks over, and they'll be in your hand. And if you had a set already, let us know in chat, because we love to hear your feedback on those. So that's happening. And last but not least, as I just click over here, just making sure I'm monitoring when Ben isn't ready, we want to thank all the folks that have already helped us out. So here's all the folks that have helped us out, both with the donations for the new camera, as well as the patrons. They're over there on the side. We appreciate and applaud both of you, both groups, I should say, as well as everyone watching tonight. That's a form of help. And if you guys didn't know, we are saving up for a PTZ camera. Saving up sounds like we're counting our nickels here. We'll take nickels for sure, not wooden ones, metal ones. But we are 20% of the way already there, Jace. It's $608 after that first weekend. So if you want to help us out, it's at trainstudio2019@gmail.com. We'll take anything and everything. We do appreciate that. It rolls right back into the studio. Michael was here, really was impressed with the setup, and I think you guys would be too. Maybe in the future I should do another studio walkthrough just to let you guys know what it's looking like now. But we do thank all those folks that are either helping us with viewership, Patreon, and or straight donations for the camera. Like and appreciate all of that. So, yeah. Any other thoughts, Jace? Did I miss anything there that you can think of that we got going on?
No, I don't think so. I think we hit everything.
Let me just hang out. I'm just gonna have a look at chat here. So, I am not feeling the Legion burnout. Sorry, Andrew, just catching up here on chat. No, I'm feeling good about it. I was just telling Jace I'm really rejuvenated here, and I want to get into getting some more hobbying done. I picked up some paints because I needed a couple more apparently, just to do some more of my droids. So I'm gonna be ripping through the last of my droids. I'm almost finished the assembly. I still have maybe 15 boxes left, but I kind of shifted gears back to the wall because it was calling to me. So, do you still use terrain in the Dianoga scenario? Yeah, we did. The vents do give you cover if you're at range one of them, so there's a lot of light cover on there. We did, but to be honest, that Dianoga just goes wherever it wants anyway. So the terrain was fun just to kind of because you can still shoot and do other things in the game. So I still feel like you need to have some. I don't think you need to be overly heavy. There's a ton of light cover, and they end up all being area terrain with the 7 vents out there. So, what's else? Are these going to be Patreon exclusive, or can we order like others before? So, Timothy, I do not have a store, and I do not want to sell anything. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to explore 2 avenues. It's either going to be set up at a tier for a limited time, or it's going to be set up as one exclusive tier that you can join once. And then when you're done, you can just leave that tier, and then that will basically take care of that. So I want to do it in a roundabout way, but I do not want to set up a store and do all that business. Patreon is what I drive most of the revenue through for the content, and so I'd like to keep it to that. It's I know that might not be everyone's cup of tea or preference, but that's kind of what I'm doing just to keep it low key. I also like to spin it right back into the studio, so I can turn that right around. So it's not really driving a big profit, and so the profit margin's slim at best. But I like to reinvest that right away in what I have going on. So that's probably how it's going to be fully transparent with you. So. But of course, as always, we'll probably do a couple sets and we'll just straight giveaway. Anything that we like to put behind a paywall, I say like to, we put behind a paywall or a sort of a support perk, if you will. We also like to turn around and just give out some free ones as well. So I think evidence of that was the 35 giveaways we did last week. So, and we got more for you. Don't worry. Wait till it gets to Christmas. So, all right. What we'll do is I'm going to put Ben at the end, and Ben can jump in wherever he likes to. Because I think, Jace, in the interest of doing this will probably take us 20 minutes or so. We'll get through all the pods. We'll start to percolate all that great stuff. And then we will build some hype, and then hopefully some folks can jump into the roundtable and give their own predictions, or maybe officially call out some people. If they want them in the round 1 of round 5. So yeah, Jake, we're just about to, we're gonna get into some league reveals here. Yes, sorry, Tom. Anyone who is a patron, I will ship them to wherever, and that's another thing that I can kind of bake that in. That the cost associated with the tiers will also allow me to kind of anticipate and cover off some of that. It might be a loss on some and a gain on others, but yeah, we'll kind of split the difference on that. So, all right, Jace, let's jump over if you're cool with that. League 5. All right, League round 5. Ready to go. Woo! August 9th, as anticipated. So this one will run basically through early September. Then we'll run the last round 6 through October. We'll have that short week off where we'll kind of finish up or 2 weeks, I think we said, where we'll do the sort of the top 4 for nothing prizes and just straight giveaways. and then we will jump right back in with season 2. So if you haven't been in, or if you've been following from afar, or you jumped out and you were waiting for the place to jump back in, any time is a place to jump in. But if you want, the season's basically going to click over, and we'll be ready to go kind of tail end of October, ready for another season. We'll rip that one right through winter and spring. Yeah. Okay, Jace. Players who do not know, or you're joining us for the first time, we're just going to briefly. We understand we haven't done this for a bit, so we just kind of want to run through this. Do you want to do the reading on this, and I'll do
Yeah,
page
you
2?
bet.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so the league runs in 6-month long sections. So, each section is split into 6 rounds, and each round takes up 1 month, or just under, with a little bit of admin time in between. Each round runs for 4 weeks, and at the end of each round, your pods will be reshuffled. So you are playing new, or maybe some of the same players every time. Players are free to schedule their games at any point during the rounds. We just ask that you try to complete all or as many of your games as you can during that round. Pods usually will consist of 4 players, although sometimes we have been doing 5 just because of how the numbers have worked out. And it also lets you get more games in, which is nice.
That's
For so for scoring, you'll be awarded 1 point for each game you play. So you just participate, you get a point, with a bonus point if you play all of your games in the pod. So that's already 4 points if you play and lose all your games. Each win is worth 2 points. So you can get up to, I think it was, what is it? It's in a 4-person pod 11.
Yeah, I think the average one, right? Because if you play a 4-person pod, you win 3 games. That's 6 points, and you played 4. I think it ends up being 10, right? Because you'll get 3 for the
10,
games.
yeah.
10 is the average score. If you have a bigger pod, you obviously have a chance at a few more, but you also have to play more games. So.
Yeah, exactly. At the end, the top 2 players in each pod will be placed into a group A, and the bottom 2 into a group B. These groups don't really mean anything. It's an easy way that we can just separate players, and next round you might be in the next top 2, and then you bump back up or you jump back down. People can be bouncing in and around all over the place. And at the start of each round, new pods will be drawn from these group A's and group B's, and this just allows you, as I said, to just move between them. And then any new players who join in will usually just start in Group B, and then if you're in the top 2, you can bump up, or you can stay in the Group B or wherever you are.
Yep. Important to note, we also don't do tiebreakers, so if there's people that are tied at a specific score, we just bump the whole pot or the number of people up. So sometimes we have 3-way tie, we'll bump 3 up and 2 down if it's a 5-man group. Sometimes we have, maybe it'll be like 2 people at the same score, and that's the only 2. We'll bump them up. So we basically just take the top 2, and just as Jay said, we even out the pods that way. So lists are submitted and locked for each round. We basically have them locked before we reveal the pods, so they get sent to Pally. He's our admin on the list. I don't handle any of that. They all get submitted, and then I look after. He does the tally. I cross-reference the tally. I randomly generate the pools. I do that side, and each round we've asked somebody different to pick the maps. Canadian Bear's done the maps this round, and he's done a little pod pack for you, so you will be able to have that up. We'll reveal that. You can go download that, put that in your TTS, and you'll have the map pack for this upcoming round. I did not look at any of the maps, so just in fairness, because I'm also a player in the league, so I don't pick them. I don't know them. I don't know the lists. I only know mine. I do know the players, but that's randomly generated, and the scores are generated from the previous round. So during each of the rounds, we also do a ban for each round. So this round, it happened to have been supports. I'll talk about on the next screen which ones are banned for this round. No banning in the first round, and that will hold true for Season 2. So we've done Commander, Operative, Special Forces. This is support, and then next round will be Heavies. That'll be on. During play, if there's any discrepancies, we ask people to just be their own judge. We have a rules channel you can ask out in there. We generally have several live streams running as well. It's just a live game, so we're watching. It's easy to jump into that. If you have a question, just jump over, ask. We just, by committee, whoever is there, we'll look it up or help you out as best we can. But we have had, I don't think, had any disagreements that haven't been able to work out and had no hurt feelings. Nobody's messaged me about anything that has been an issue. Sign-ups happen basically about 2 weeks out from the end of the pod, so look for that about middle of, or probably the tail end of this month, I guess. And then we do a ban for the round. That happens out about a week out from the after the signups and before we have to submit lists. The bans are done by popular vote, and so the highest entry gets banned for the round, and we do one per faction. So that is effectively the league. So if you're interested, go check it out on the Discord. It's never too late to kind of jump in. Obviously this round, but if you want to get in for round 6, you can declare your intentions quite early. So the round 5 bans ended up like this, Jace. So Tauntaun's got the ban out, the timeout, as Stan had said. It was pretty
Makes
tight.
sense.
There was FD cannons were also up there, but Tauntaun's got the ban hammer. Dewbacks led. Is it Dewbacks or speeder bikes? I might have had that wrong. Somebody can correct me. I might be incorrect in my own voting here if it's Dewbacks. I might have wanted it to be Dewbacks, but it might have ended up being speeder bikes. I'm going to confirm that right now. Shows how much I was paying attention to that. I'll find out right now. Banning vote right here. I'll just go look. I've done all the administrative count ups here, so let me go look there. Empire was Dewbacks at 16. Okay, I did that correct. 16 and 7 for speeder bikes. So cool. Bark speeders ended up edging out the
people don't like them Dewbacks.
Fluttercraft 12 to 11. So Barks got 12. Fluttercraft got 11. No one paid attention to the games clearly that Fluttercrafts were running all over. So you've done this to yourself, people. So the Fluttercrafts are in.
Yeah.
Canadian Bear Tauntauns did nothing wrong. That is accurate. So Bark Speeder's out at 12. So I can't feel like I don't think I've run into a single Bark Speeder in the league, but maybe I've just got lucky. So apparently they've done people dirty. So cause so much so that 12 people voted them out. So they're out, and then Spider Droids also hashtag Spider Droids did nothing wrong at 22 votes for getting rid of them. 2 for Staps and 1 poor soul voted for Droidicas. Oh wait, that was me. That was I was fearful of the Droidicas. So fear the Droidica and that suppressive weapon. So Tauntaun's out, Dewback's out, Bark Speeder's out, and Spider Droid's out. Chase. I feel like vehicles could see a resurgence here with Spider Droids being dropped out. And you don't have speedy melees in the Tauntauns and the Dewbacks out, but Wookiees obviously are still there and can be quite speedy. But that Dewback Tauntaun, seemingly nobody liking the rush there, so they are gone. But no doubt, Jake. Bark speeders can be nasty. I just hadn't come across them, and so my vote would have been cast to Fluttercrafts. In fact, I believe it was. So yes. Tactical burn vote on Droidicas? Of course it was. So if HH12s were in there, I would have voted for them. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. No, those are some interesting bans. Those are. Actually, I kind of expected most of those. Maybe the Empire one's the only one that I might have voted the other way. But no, I would have voted Barks and Spider Droids and Tauntauns.
Yeah. No, fair. Yeah, I just seen Fluttercrafts firsthand, so I was fearful. So, just jumping over really quickly, updating the standings. This reads round 4. This is just meaning at the end of round 4. Here's the current scores. This is every member who's ever participated in the group. So. Some people have gone up and down. Some people stayed the same between round 4 and 5 if they weren't participant. Some people have also jumped back in 5, and so obviously we'll see some movement for those folks. So we have a spread of 39 to 1 basically in there. Lots of movement through kind of that 10 through 22, 23-ish area this time. Some people made a lot of headway there. And so doesn't mean that because people got more points and went up spaces that they wouldn't technically have went down, just based on how the group goes. So basically with that, if you are in the top 2, you move up into a pod of 2, and then that's random. And if you're in the bottom 2, then you move down and you're in a pod that's random there. So you may actually have more points and move down based on what your group did, or you may have had less points and moved up based on how you did in your particular group. So there is, so there's just a bunch of, you didn't miss anything, Anthony. We haven't got to the pod reveals just yet. Sean's mic is definitely lower than Jace's. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can just up that a little bit for you guys there and see if that makes any difference for you guys.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that just might be how it's coming across there. So let me know if that worked at all for you, Andrew. Yeah, not sure if it's just me, but Sean's difficult to hear, very low volume. Yeah, not sure if I'm. Let me know if that got any better for you there, Jeff. Maybe I just wasn't speaking directly into the mic because it's very. It's got a very small cone, so I'm looking at the screen and probably not paying as much attention to the mic. So I will await to hear if that comes across better. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's probably just me. I made a small adjustment on my microphone today placement, so maybe I just need to speak better into it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so myself, I've been cruising along pretty good. I had a really tough group. I was telling Jace that 3 of us had 11 points in our last pod. So and that was a pod with Stan. Michael was in that group. Debaticus was in that group. Bobster was in the group, and myself. And so myself, Bobster, and Debaticus, we all exchanged rounds beating up on each other. Then we all took turns and we beat up a little bit on Stan and Michael. And we all played all of our games. So our entire pod played all their games, which was really helpful. So we had 3 guys at 11 points in the round. So that was good. So that's where we ended up there. So tight at the top, Dan or Debaticus, they're well within striking distance for sure. Anthony's in there at 26. Calico Kid's in there at 25. Canadian Bear, I'm seeing lots of people who are on our show all the time. So and lots of are within moving distance. So we still have 2 more full rounds. So any one of these folks can just run the gambit here in the next 2 rounds and jump right up in there. So we will take the top 4. We'll do a little quick play down just to sort of cap that off, because we had that kind of voted in that we'd like to have some sort of culminating thing. And then we're wiping the slate clean, starting season 2, round 1. Everything's open, and away we go. We likely anticipate that Shadow Collective will be in by that time, and so we anticipate that's going to be in there. We're not using the beta mod, just so people know. We're just trying to keep it real clean and kind of WYSIWYG it basically for the models as much as possible. So, yeah, that's fair, Ryan. Sean, I don't disagree. Ryan would do better if he got himself a jersey. So, all right. Well, in the interest that
100%.
Ben is standing by, but I do want to get through this because we've gone down this track, and then we'll leave some time for the round table. Let's get into the pods. We only have 5, but I think 4 out of the 5 of them are 5-man pods, 5-person pods. So just keep that in notes. So, all right, the pod one. Are you ready, Jace?
You bet.
Okay. So the very first, I'm not 100% how to pronounce this this planet, but forever known in my brain, it will be known as Gesundheit, only because I feel like it's pronounced a chew. So I'm just going to call this the Gesundheit pod.
It's Acto.
It's fair enough. It's a chew in my brain, because when I first saw it quickly, I was like, whoa, was that a chew? No, gotcha. I think when I looked this up, isn't this like the Kylo Ren's, like the planet where it's like all water and there's just like a island facility? I think
so. This is
where he fights.
So this is the planet where Rey found Luke. Right. This is the planet where Rey found Luke hiding out at the end of The Force Awakens.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you start episode. This is the planet where Luke submerged his own X-wing and chucked his old lightsaber into a lake.
Okay, and the blue milk comes from this planet, so which I'm probably allergic to, which is why I sneezed,
yes.
Which is why this is Gesundheit. Gotcha. That's how the story goes. So it's canon now. All right. So in this group
exactly.
Is the Calico Kid. We have myself in here, a strange event. Tyler Carnes and Debaticus. So Debaticus and I will now have been meeting for the 3rd time, which is fantastic. I have not played the Calico Kid. I have not played the
rivalry,
event, and I've not played Tyler. So if any of them, those folks are in chat and they want to, give the call out. I mean, if they're real men, they'd be coming onto the round table and doing that in the flesh. But I invite the call outs for sure. So, but I got a rivalry going with Debaticus for sure. I've never played Tyler. I'm sure he's a fine individual. I've never played the Calico Kid. I'm going to call him Calico Kid, though. I'm not putting the title on until he claims the title. So, and then a strange event is an East Coaster. So I appreciate that I'm going to be able to listen to an East Coast accent for a while, and not be ashamed to have mine come out a little bit. So, yeah, that's the achievement.
Sean's going to go full Trailer Park Boys on us
for sure. Yeah, out behind the garage. So that is what we have for this group here. So Strange event. Oh no, I have to deal with the studio
Nice.
bully. That's, I mean, accurate. Yes, you do. So I'll take it easy
Yeah.
on you for sure. I do on everyone. So that is our group right there. All five. We'll get added to the groups. Pally will take care of that, and then we can start, sharing the list and start into it right away. So, um, yeah, that's fair. We are 1-1, so this will be the rubber match. Absolutely. So, I need to bounce back hard. So yeah, because I lost a close one to Palpatine in the last one. So I was up on bodies, but down on
If it's not
mobility.
if it's not streamed, it doesn't count.
That's fair. That's fair. That is true. So all right. So that is pod one. Getting into that, Anthony also knows. Jace, you've seen me roll a lot of crits. I played Anthony the other night in
Oh, I
in a
have.
practice game. It was atrocious,
Yeah.
like absolutely atrocious.
I've seen Sean roll 6 crits on 8B1 white dice.
Yeah, it was kind of
Like,
like that, but
I've
almost
seen you
every
roll
roll
insane
against him,
amount of
it,
crits.
it was it was really really bad. So yeah,
Ooh.
I was apologetic. So oh, it was on white dice. Absolutely, it was on white dice. I was playing my B1s, so that's exactly what happened. All right, let's move over to pod two. I think it's Canto Nemoidia. Canto Nemoidia. I think that's correct. This is our second of the
Kato
top.
Nomordia?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's Cato Nemodia. We'll go with that. Second of our top groups here. So we have
Kato.
Bobster 117. We have Moon, Sean Death, Chronic Canuck,
Nice.
and Eric is in here. So all those folks did really really well in the last round. There was a lot of big scores last round. So I know that there was a few pods that didn't play a lot of games, but the pods that seemed to the bigger pods seem to really get all their games in. So I was hoping that by going with groups of five, that instead of having groups of four and then one group of three, I just thought if I made bigger pods, it just sort of sparks a little bit more. So hopefully we get a bunch of games in here. So yeah, so looking forward to that. Bobster, Moon, Sean Death, Chronic Canuck, and Eric. I can't speak to who's played who kind of in the grand scheme of things at round 5. I'm starting to lose track. I can barely remember who I've played, but good luck to all those folks, and we'll look to hear from you guys, and hopefully we get to see some stream games. So I haven't seen Striker in a bit, so I'm hoping he's doing all right and up for streaming some games. So Stan's always a pretty good go-to Canadian Bear. He's always in there. Will into stream as well. So that is that group.
Mm-hmm.
Pod 3 is the smallest of the top groups, just how it came out in the random pool. So Scythe Dog's in here. So Anthony, Canadian Bear, Dan from Down Under, and then Mr. Witty 82. So Anthony and I have seemingly avoided each other so far through 5 rounds. So maybe Anthony, for my luck, Anthony will get me in round 6 when I can't run heavies. And to be fair, this is the first round that I'm using a heavy. Because I can't use spiders, but so this will be the first round running a heavy. So and you don't know what one it is, but it starts with an A and ends with a T. I'll just give you that. So
I was gonna be like, what other heavy does Sean run?
there's one letter in between. So, but it's like Hangman. You get a few guesses before you get it wrong. So yeah. So Scythe Dog, Canadian Bear, Dan from Down Under, and Mr. Witty 82. So. Canadian Bear says, "Oh no, I can hear the bombs again." He means Fluttercraft likely. So yeah, that is what we have going on there. Only one. I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what stands.
Only one letter between A and T.
Oh yeah, only one. Yeah.
Not two. You're not running ATs
Oh, I wish.
or ATST.
I wish. Not the ATST part, but the AT for sure. That'd be awesome, but not yet. So yeah, so Scythe Dog, Canadian Bear, Dan from Down Under, Mr. Witty. You guys are playing on Felucia. I hear it's bright this time of year. All right, let's slide over here, and we'll get Ben in here in a few minutes. So this is the second to last group here. So we have Basil, S Parks, OS Dad, Tactical Genius, and Biggin 7877. There's Ben calling in right now. I'll just put Ben on so he can hear us. Just 1 second. I'll assign him to guest 1, and then I'll just make sure that he can hear us. Ben, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, we're just wrapping up the last of the two groups, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, so I'm old as well, but I feel that this is the wisest of the groups that we have come across, and I know most of these individuals. We just cross paths with them, so it's a very wise group. So, so Tactical Genius, OS Dad, S Parks, and then Michael's in there, and then Biggin. I believe that I have played all but Tactical Genius, I think, in this group here. So I know that these guys will get all their games in. I'm looking forward to hearing back from all of them, and I think I'll be watching this pod with great closeness here. So.
With great interest,
I
as
ran
Palpatine would say.
I ran an AT-AT last round, or an AAT last round. I don't think I ran an AAT last round. No. That is accurate. Never mind. I did run an AAT last round. That is correct. I forgot which list I played because I've been practicing different lists. Correct. He did call me out. I did run an AAT last round, and I'll be running an AAT again this round. Yes, I've been practicing another list, and I so got confused that I was not playing that in the league. So fair enough. And yeah, with spiders, yeah, that's fine. But I can't run spiders now. So.
Too many games in 8 days. He's run too many lists. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
100% accurate. Yes, I have not. I've played way too much Legion. So I'll tell you though, playing all those games with like just switching like upgrades and units, it turned it like round to round to round to round. Wow, my brain was spinning pretty hard. So yeah, that is true. I did run one. Wow, look at that. I already breezed past that game. So. It did so well. Echo will never forget. That's true. That is true. Yeah, I did shoot Bobster's Echo immediately starting our game too. So, wow. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I did that. That was only last round. Holy smokes, that seemed like so long ago now. Pour what out. Okay, so that is the second to last round. You guys are on. I'm not sure. Is this a Maikito? Maikito? Is that how you said that one?
Yeah, Maikito.
Maikito. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah. So look forward to that one. And the last but not least, certainly not least, Crate. I heard it's red at this time of year, depending which direction you're moving. But JD Nielsen is in this one, so good to have JD back. He took a round off. Obviously, he had some family matters to deal with, which is fantastic that he was able to bounce back this quickly. So welcome him back personally, but I want to say it here on the air. We also have Emmanuel coming back in. Emmanuel, pretty stock standard. One of our European players gets in a ton of games and is really adamant about getting those games in. I like that. Kokazula is back in. He had a bit of a rough round getting games in, but I convinced him to come back, and I said he'd be in a great pod. And he'll get some games in. I know he will. Birdland fan coming back finally, so Brendan's there. All these games that Brendan needs to play is early, so that's good because Kokazula will probably appreciate somebody wanting to play games early, and Birdland's got to get those in before bedtime. And then Justice for Life, who I think I've seen Justice in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, Justice, but I think this is your first round. I could not find a score in anywhere. So if I missed somehow a score for you, but I think this might be your first round. I know you're a regular in chat, but I didn't know if you were in the league before. So Ain't No Poser is also appearing in chat, but is not appearing in the league. So only gets half points and half credit for that.
He also does not have a jersey.
That is accurate. All right, it is Justice's first round. That's fantastic. Well, welcome in. Never too late to join. Coming in
Exciting.
round 5, you were on Planet Crate. If you have any questions about how any of this works or communication-wise, there's a whole plethora of people who can help you out, and we'll walk you through that without issue. So, yeah, real quickly before we get to Ben, just recapping there, we got the Gesundheit Planet here, the Calico Kid, myself, Strange Event, Tyler, and Debaticus. We have on Kanto Nemoidia, we have Bobster, Moon, Sean Death, Chronic Canuck, and Eric. And we have on Felucia, it's right this time of year, we have Scythe Dog, Canadian Bear, Dan from Down Under, Mr. Witty 82. Maigito, we have Basil, that's Michael, S Parks, OS Dad, Tactical Genius, Biggin 7877. And then on Crate, JD, we have Emmanuel, Kokazula, Birdland Fan 88, and Justice for Life. Justice Reynolds in there, coming in to round out our 5 pods. That is, again, these will form the foundation for round 6. But if you want to jump in or jump back in, no problem. Don't feel that you're out, even though if it's the last round. Really, this is just a reoccurring round. We just call them rounds for numerical value, and then we'll just roll it all over and do it again. Season 1. Ben, I hope we can count you back in here at some point. You got off that strong start. I want to see maybe your Gen Con list make an appearance in at least round 1, because you'll have no bans, and I don't think you had any heavies, so really
No restrictions.
Round 6 might be a place for you to come back in. Just saying, my friend.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, especially if we're well, I was gonna say I would need Cad Bane and Empire for that, so that was stopping me in previous rounds from floating back in.
No, for sure. And I think
I'm blacked out.
No, I'm getting you there because you weren't in
there
yet,
I am.
so I just got to drop you in here. So, so we were saying we're going to allow the bounty hunters. First, welcome Ben to the stream, who was just previously a voice. We are going to allow the bounty hunters to come into the factions, and so there's some workarounds. I think you can save your list and then bring that in. We're also going to allow any upgrades that are in the game. The only thing we're going to rule out right now is the Shadow Collective, just because none of the models are spawning and we're not running in a beta. So we're in this kind of like this void where TTS is usually updated, and I'm sure that the people doing that are putting in all their free time. Also probably have other things that they need to do. So no fault on anyone doing that. It's just that's where we are right now. There's enough models in Legion that we can have a good time with what we have. So
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm perfectly fine with the way that it is right now, because I've been following the league and everything and seeing all the updates of what's been staying. Just because I dipped out doesn't mean I haven't been watching. It's very entertaining to keep track of. But I'm perfectly happy with not having to face Shadow Collective right now, because my last I want to say 8 of 10 competitive games I've played have been against Shadow Collective, and I want to play Legion again. I've been playing against specifically them for too much.
Yep. No, that's fair. Well, there's a shout out right there and an endorsement for where we're at right now in the league. So, okay, well, we're gonna rip Ben's part through here, not rushing him, but we'll save time for the round table. But we wanna just jump back a little bit because I had a little preamble here. So first off, this is News from the Streets Dice Time edition. So that's a new one. Thought I'd give a little shout out there. Dice Time affiliated podcast. Go give them a listen. There's a whole bunch of episodes on the channel, and I'm waiting for the Gen Con episode to drop for sure. I know you won't be on these screens, Ben, but I'll get you in here, as I said.
That's all right. I can just be a disembodied voice over Jace's shoulder.
No, we don't do that here. We get everybody front.
Yeah, there I am. So I am actually in Jace's house. He doesn't know it, though.
That's fair. Well, as long as you're not in mine, because that would be awkward. Only because my dogs wouldn't bark, which means you've been here before.
And it's not awkward that he's in mine. Okay.
But he's on a different floor.
Well, yeah, I go to your house all the time.
Yeah, that's right. So Ben, we talked about this last episode, and we know that, and I'm sorry, my voice is probably trailing off as I move away. So one of the great things about this new microphone, it doesn't pick up at volume as much, but it also doesn't pick volume as much if I'm not leaning in. So we know that AMG has decided that they're going to allow to have more or give out some more passes for Worlds, if you want, invites, if you will, which is great. And we know that Adepticon 2023 is going to host Worlds, which is fantastic. So my understanding is that we did have some invites at Gen Con. Do you have any insight as to how many and how many of those got passed down and seemingly awarded out?
So I can't speak exactly to who got them or how many got passed down. From my understanding, I think there were 4 invites total. Okay. So I think it was the top 4 from Sunday who would have got those. And if they didn't have them already, I believe they got passed down. But I am not positive about who in the top 4 that finished Sunday already had them.
I'm pretty sure Brian didn't, and so because he went
I don't think Brian did, so I think he's got one now.
Which is great. I'm gonna invite Brian both now and in person to just come on and share us some more, and it'll be unique because Ben actually got to play Brian, so we'll get Ben's perspective on whatever he wants to tell us about his games. Then we'll jump into the photos. Maybe it might be better if I do the photos first, and then we'll recap with you, Ben, and then that will be a better way to know when you've concluded that story. So so Ben took a bunch of photos for us, boots on the ground kind of style, news from the streets, but we brought him in, so he
word from the street.
yeah, he literally got a pass to get in. So I unfortunately, I want to extend thanks to Ben who was willing to provide the accommodations for me even at the last minute, because I still had a bunch of stuff in limbo. But like I said, my wife had to extend her stay. She only arrived back the day I would have been already gone. So we just opted to deal with that. But we've already started planning for 2020. What year will it be? 2023. Yes, Gen
Yeah.
Con. There's a separate channel that will be happening. So everyone mark it on their calendar. We're going to do it. We're going to do Airbnb or some big house or something that we can get everybody in one space if we can, or at least a collective space or close by. So that is happening now. So that will be a thing. So look for that.
Assuming no tragedy occurs in the household, I will probably just be rooming with my girlfriend. But I love the idea of getting the all the Legion guys together under one roof. That sounds great.
Yeah, we'll make a collective space. So yeah, that is happening. So Ben was there, and again, Ben's not going to be on this screen, but I'm going to drop him in real quick. So Ben was there. Presumably went all the days. Ben, you were there for the duration.
Yep. Only way to go.
Yeah, and participated in the Legion on Thursday. What was your Friday, Saturday, Sunday all about?
Well, I was gonna say, if you want, I'll give a brief synopsis. But if you want to hear all the full stories from everything, are going to be in the next Dice Time episode.
Fair.
If I can get a hold of Paul and we can record this week, my voice is obviously still very shot from screaming all weekend. So I'm hoping it's better later this week, and like maybe Paul and I and Trista are all going to do another roundtable episode, and we'll get everything together, and we'll have a full, 2-hour cast is what I'm expecting, right, just on all of our days and stories and stuff. But so that'll be up either this Sunday or next Sunday, and it'll be on this channel as well, so make sure to look for that, because Dice Time videos are now on this channel again. But it was mostly just playing other games. Thursday was my day that I committed to Legion, and I left the time slot open Sunday if for some reason I bumbled into the top, which I knew wasn't going to happen, but I also didn't know the day I got a Worlds invite that I was going to win more than 1 or 2 games that day. So, I mean, I can't predict. But yeah, so we played we did Funkoverse, we played Zinvaded, all sorts of really fun games. I got to meet the voice actors for Goofy and Max, for famous Disney. So that was a really neat experience.
Cool. And did you guys played in that Funkoverse tournament again? You guys were defending a world title.
Yes, we did. Big spoiler: we got knocked out in the first elimination round because we came against a pretty sweaty team. Okay. So
fair enough.
It was very sad, but we stuck around and we played for a while, and we got some of the prizes that people that were still supposed to be in the tournament got, because Funko Games is a really awesome company.
Nice.
And they were really nice. So.
Well, that's good. I was making sure I was going to ask you that question because I didn't ask you already. So,
the flex
spoil anything, but
the flex now goes from we're the world champions of Funkoverse to we were the first world champions of Funkoverse.
Just keep stretching it out, right? We do
right.
That, we do that all the time in Canada, so we can have the world's longest of something. We just, world's longest bridge spanning frozen waters in the northern hemisphere.
Yep.
Blah 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 blah. You just keep going until you got the title. I got it. So
there's a new world record of weather every day in every sports game.
Yep,
this is the hottest it's been with this 2 teams in 8 years, with the weather, or with the field this green.
And the wind blowing
that kind of so. Right, and the wind going to the east. Yeah, it's those are the kind of flexes I live for.
Yep. I'm still trying to be the best terrain maker in my house, but to keep coming up second every single time. My daughter keeps bringing that popsicle stick art home from daycare, and it's just just a constant reminder of my lack of skills.
How do you compete?
So, I know. Yep, there's that. But
that's how I felt That's how I felt on Thursday. Perfect transition. There we go.
Perfect. All right. Well, Ben sent me over some photos, but I can't just put photos up because that's lame and boring. But let's just have a look at what he's collected for us, and then we'll jump back and talk to Ben a bit more before we see him out. I know he rushed here to be here, so I want to appreciate and give thanks for that. So here we go.
Oh.
right, Ben, as boots on the ground, what was your impression of the tables? I have some thoughts.
Yeah, so boots on the ground, looking at all the tables, I was, for the most part, very pleased with what I saw. You know, if anything, the major theme that I heard amongst everybody was they were nice, they were well done. A lot of them were very, very cluttered, very clustered. There were not a lot of very open tables that were designed with vehicles in mind. However, I did not hear any major complaints from anybody saying, like, I couldn't get my vehicles anywhere. So, I mean, at least those were pretty open in that regard. But all the tables I played on all day, you know, felt pretty good. I honestly was jealous that I didn't bring my rebels because there were so many line of sight blocking terrain and so much clutter that I was like, dang, this is where I need to play rebels.
Yep.
But yeah, no, they seemed pretty good for me. And I mean, I always bring lists that have characters with jump 1 and jump 2 because jump is my favorite keyword in the game. So, you know, all the terrain doesn't really bother those characters that much.
No, that's right. No, the tables look great. A lot of familiar looking pieces there. I saw a lot of Legion terrain items there, nicely painted. Bernard noting that not one single mini was unpainted. Just a short rebuttal. This will be because we love Bernard. We are working on it, Bernard. We also collect all 4 factions, and I know that most people gearing up for those tournaments paint one thing. Because I will note this: you can tell that was a tournament that people were prepping for and finishing up last minute, because I saw about 50% of those minis that had no basing on them. So I think a lot of people,
my shore troopers included.
Yeah, no, a lot of those minis were not based, so that just means that a lot of people were probably getting them ready for, which is no knock on anyone. I'm just saying that, you know, that is one thing that I consider that painted minis got to have a full base too before it can be fully done. But no, I agree. The tables did look a little cluttered. I'm okay with that. I think it's the style that you prefer. I like cluttered tables because I think it just gives a lot to it. And I think maybe there might have been maybe even an overcompensation for the last time that they did, well, the time before the last, I guess, in Gen Con, where they were really sparse and had almost nothing. So I think there's always going to be this balance between, you know, too much terrain and not enough. And I don't think you're ever going to win that conversation with every single person, because somebody's going to walk up, I wanted less because their army would have played better. I wanted more because that would have benefited my army more. But I think if you have a mix between maybe light and heavy and medium tables, and a mix between terrain types, heights, elevations, area versus hard cover, I think that's the best way to have most people happy at a tournament. So if you weren't hearing complaints, then it's probably okay. And I get that. So, but they looked good visually. They look great, interesting. Looked like they had some thematic tables there, which is really cool. So, yeah, no, that's cool. And so, why don't you talk a little bit about your play experience if you want to relive that time, or not?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was going to say some moments rather than others. Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due to Canadian Bear for the name of my list.
Okay.
But I did not play Ladies' Night, for all of you who don't know and are looking at this name and thinking, oh right, that's the guy who plays that at tournaments. Nope, I actually didn't this time. So we played the inversion list of that, Bros Before Heroes. Okay. So we played Agent Callus, Boba Fett, and Cad Bane.
Okay.
So that was the main theme of the list. I knew I wanted to play Boba Fett and Cad in the list. As soon as Cad came over to Empire, I was like, oh boy. And I love Callus. I haven't gotten to play him too much, but I remember when he was coming out, I was like, I cannot wait to play Callus. So before the tournament, I had probably played 2 games with Callus. So being fair to myself for these experiences in these games, I had piloted this list and some of these units next to none. So I did not go in here thinking I was going to win everything, and that wasn't even my goal. My goal was to go in and win 1 game. Bare minimum 1 game. Because my last competitive tournament I was at, I really didn't do very well, and Ladies' Night was kind of not performing for me the way it used to back in the day, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to try something else and just see if it's a me problem or if it's a list problem or like what's up. So
performance anxiety problem.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So I was just like, all right, well, I was like, well, let's bring something else that I
Ben
still
can't
want
handle this many ladies anymore.
Yeah.
Get a control, get some
taking
control over there.
taking
Ben.
it out of me. But yeah, so I was like, I still have lists in Legion that I want to play, that I still feel passionate about, like Cad Bane and now that Boba Fett have both gotten reworks. I've really wanted to put them in a list together, and so I was like, all right, well, let's bring Callus, let's bring Boba, let's bring Cad Bane, and let's see like what kind of crazy list we can make. And the last tournament I was in, somebody actually played my round 3 opponent actually played Callus, Boba, and Cad, and I took notes from him, and kind of made my list it's different from his, but because we swapped out a couple of units, but I took notes from him, asking him questions and stuff about like what works in the list and what doesn't. And I didn't send you the photo of it, the quick rundown would be Callus, he's got Underworld connections, tenacity, and his gun, staff, whatever. Boba Fett only has Hunter. Cad Bane is fully kitted out with situational awareness, okay, almost fully kitted, up close and personal, comms relay, and ascension cables. The number one complaint I have about this list is I don't have the points to give him his gauntlet. I really want to give him that gauntlet. I got Snow Troopers with Gideon, a comms technician, and HQ uplink. I have Stormtroopers with the T-21. I have Shore Troopers with the T-21B, a Naked Mortar, an E-Web with the Overcharge generator, and 2 Sniper Strike teams for 10 activations, 796.
Nice. Yeah, I think what we're going to do... Sorry, I was just going to say...
Sure, go ahead.
So we don't have Ben's list up now, but I think what we're going to do next week, I'm going to grab some of the top lists from Gen Con and top list at Lone Star, and I thought it would be nice to do a comparative analysis between what we were seeing between those two. So thanks for sharing me your list. I know I appreciate that. And I was also going to make mention that the weekend while I wasn't at Gen Con, I actually got to play 2 games with a Cad Boba combination. Also found it was quite entertaining to play, and
yes,
got a chance to get out there. So did you get any bounties?
I did.
Did you get any bounties in your games?
I did get some bounties. I was going to say real quick, I did watch the Friday night fights that happened before Gen Con that had Cad Boba in it, because I was like, back to writing notes. If I can't get all the games in.
I hope you wrote that in invisible ink and then threw that away immediately, because that would have been my rep 2 with that list. So yeah.
Still,
I would have been slightly ahead of you then, I guess, man.
Right, I was gonna say, like I said, if I can't get the games in, I'm at least gonna take the notes from the people that have. So, but yeah, so I mean, it was a good experience to get those games in, and I had fun. You know, it was very hard to get hard to go right away, just because I played Brian Bear first round, and that was he is I can't actually believe I beat him the first time I met him,
right? Because
how good he is and how top he gets at most of these events. And yeah, like I was gonna say, go ahead and that'll be a really good comparison, because I was listening to I can't even remember who now, and I feel really bad. I don't mean to throw shade. I can't remember who I was listening to, but they were talking about Lone Star, the top 4, and I'm like, man, it would be really smart to compare how close they are together. Just compare the top 4 of that. So that's a really good that's a good topic to do there. So that's smart.
Yeah, I just thought it would be neat to, they're fairly close together, but people obviously prepping for, if they prep for both, great. If you went to both, fantastic. But sometimes you've been to events,
double the data.
Events I have been. You kind of prep in anticipation of what you think you might see, and it'd just be interesting to see kind of what came out on top in both of those events, and how close or how far apart they are. So, and I know that Shadow Collective, as you mentioned, was fairly well represented, at least in sprinkled into factions that weren't Shadow Collective straight, and I think we saw that at Lone Star as well. So, 2
of the 3 games I played were against Shadow Collective.
Right. And how many times did you play Maul? Did they have both have Maul?
Well, the first one was Brian, so Brian had Maul.
Yep.
The second one actually did not have Maul, but he had Saxon. So I played 1 Maul and 1 Saxon.
Cool.
You asked bounties. That was the question. Yes, I'm trying. I don't know how many bounties I claimed at the end of the day, but I know that there was most of it was during my second game, where I placed a bounty on a generic Black Sun Vigo, and then a Pike Capo, and that was the list that the guy had Saxon in.
Right.
I don't have his list exactly, and I might make it up and figure it out before Well, I went on TTO to get the list, and I found out lists are still private, even though the event's over. And I'm like, oh man, but I got to report.
Well,
I got to report on it.
We'll go shoulder tabs and people. I'm sure we can find some stuff. So,
But yeah, so Cad claimed a Vigo bounty, and then got gunned down by Mandos in the very next activation. So he he went out there and he got his bread, and then he died right away. And actually, Boba getting his bounty was a big swing. We were in the after 15 minutes on that one, and we were having a very close game. And for some reason, I thought by getting the bounty, I would have won the game by 1, but it turns out I did not. But at the time, we didn't know that, so we were all high stakes. We had 2 of the judges that were just watching our game because they were like, "This is the most entertaining game in this round of all the ones I've walked around to." Right. And Boba, it was actually in one of the photos I took, one of the more like action shots. Boba's looking at this Pike Capo who's like behind a building, far enough away. And on round 6, he had not been touched, so he had to dodge and everything, and he hadn't even been touched. And I was like, okay, I have a move 3, and I can get into range 2 of this guy. I was like, my desperate attempt to win here is to give him an independent aim, and then jump him 3, and have him take this shot, and see if I can one-shot this Pike Capo. Mm-hmm. Not going to happen, but we'll try it. Right. So I independent aim, jumped him out in the open before he activated and dodged himself up or something like that, and I jumped him over there, shot 4 natural crits out of the 5.
Nice.
So no dodge token there.
Yep, average. Yep.
The aim came off, it just became a hit, so it went away to the dodge. But 4 saves later, the Capo was dead.
Okay.
So nice. I killed the Capo in 1 shot, and everyone was hollering at the table. They could not believe that just happened.
That's cool.
Sadly, I still lost the game by 1 point. So,
Oh.
I was like, oh well. It was still the most entertaining moment of all 3
Still
of my
worth
games
it.
was watching that happen. Oh yeah.
Not to foreshadow the next episode, but I think Double Bounty won the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And
is that right?
I
don't remember if I haven't seen. I don't know if I've actually seen. I heard Izzy is the name. I think.
Yeah,
I actually don't think I
was
saw
going to
Izzy's
connect
list.
to Jace, because Jace, didn't you play Izzy at the last?
I
gen
did.
con? Yeah, so
I
that
played
was
him
kind of
my
the point
top-
of connect there.
Yeah, I played him my top 4 game at the last Gen Con that we went to. And he was also playing Double Bounty that game as well. But he was playing the old Empire Double Bounty.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, I actually did see this. He was doing Bosk and Boba, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I did see this. Then I've been breezing through the Gen Con articles
Roundabout
just
way
because
to
I
get
was
to-
like, I'm not in this, but I'll look at him, whatever.
And the roundabout way to get back to what I was going to say to your point about Shadow Collective, I think the more Shadow Collective we see specifically with the generic Vigos and Capos, I think the stock on bounties go way up. And so there's lots of potential, and the potential for Double Bounty to be in there. So there might be this sort of governing mechanism, right, where Shadow Collective might see a proliferation now being new and cheap and really efficient with their tokens. And then this expansion of bounty hunters being available, and then potentially with the release of when Mando comes out, and then one more bounty and in one more faction, and then just where that potentially leaves Shadow Collective, whether we see sort of a tampering or a taming down of that, or maybe a little less generic spam, and it'll be interesting to see that when bounty kind of comes in, because for the longest time we all knew that bounty was very hard to claim, or at least that was the line we liked it to tote, because I think it was. But putting in multiple versions of it, and then maybe having potentially a few less, non-Jedi to kill, or a few more non-Jedi, I should say, to kill, makes that bounty point a little bit more obtainable, I guess. So it'd be really interesting to see that.
Yeah. Jake Witt put in the chat. It was, and I recall seeing the article now that I see this comment. It was Iden, an Imperial officer, and then the Imperial officer had the connections in order to get Bosk and Boba. Right. So it was Iden, I think ISF, and then Boba and Bosk, which cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
Don't see that.
No, but I mean,
Pretty nasty.
Yeah, really fast. With double bounty, you got Iden for infiltrate. If it did have ISF, some more infiltrates, so kind of in your face, and really hard to get to not get angled out by that army for sure. So, yep, no, for sure. There's that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, Ben. Well, anything else, Ben, to share us about Gen Con? I'm cognizant of your time, and I want to get over to.
Oh no,
Roundtable,
you're totally good.
Which you're more than welcome to stay for Roundtable if you want. Even if you want to stick around for some of it, because that's basically what we have left on tap, and then part of that I'll preview that for folks. Is going to be talking about their own experiences at Gen Con, whether they were there or wanted to go or whatever you. Also talking if you've played and had success in scenarios or enjoyed the scenarios, what your reaction is to your league pod, and then if you want to give any call outs or shout outs to folks in your new groups. Reference that. So that's kind of the title, the title topics. If you want to stick around, I won't hold you to that, Ben. But if you want to,
if we start that now, yeah,
it's hanging. It's
I can hang for a little bit.
All right. Well, it's happening right
we'll
now.
Do start with Gen Con and the scenarios, because that's my kind of show.
Okay. Well, it's open to anyone, so we'll freewheel that. But we can shift over. So let me just transition in right now. Hey, it's us again, Jace.
Woo!
I don't have Ben in here, but I'm gonna put him in right now because was not anticipating Ben being here, but
Me neither.
He's just one of us. He's here. So,
For a few.
He's one of us now.
so we're gonna so we're at 124. So let's go minimum of we'll go 20 minutes at max. We'll go 145 here. I'll throw the interview link in here. Sorry, there was a chat. Oh, got us over. Did you step away for 30 seconds and come back already, Jace? 'Cause I just saw that message now.
So. Oh yeah, that was like an hour ago.
I don't pay attention.
No,
to
my
chat. It's just secret chat. So.
Yeah, no, my wife locked herself outside the house, so I had to go let her back in.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm really glad that
Been there.
I'm glad you saw her message because
yes,
if that was my wife messaging me on this, I would have not seen that for an hour.
She'd be outside.
Officially awkward, and then I would be locked inside for the following hours.
I was going to say the cops would be at your door.
Yep. For sure. So, all right, let me throw this in here, and we'll do that. Reminder: when you guys jump in here, we'll give you 5 minutes on the clock, and except if your name is Ryan, in which case you get 45 seconds. So, any topics are open for discussion. Gen Con 2022 or whatever year you went. If you have others. Oh wow, that didn't take long. We will only be able to have. Oh, look, it is Ryan joining us right now.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll cycle people through, and when Ben steps out, we can have 2 in at a time, but no rush on Ben. So. All right, let me assign Ryan here. Give him a space. Perfect.
Okay, start Ryan's timer.
I was gonna say that starts his timer, right? When you have to start putting him in.
When he can utter words and put some coherent thoughts together.
Oh, he uttered sound. Start the timer now. Start the timer.
All right, here comes the Ryan timer, and go, Ryan.
Awesome. I guess I'm gonna pick Gen Con 22, and I think this may be a very hot button issue, but it relates to the world invites and of how. Okay, I gotta move faster. Of how AMG keeps pumping out these invites left and right, and keep adding the numbers. I think there's maybe over 200 invites now. I mean, we may not get that many players, but end of the day, who the hell is gonna run Worlds with that many players? Like, it's lost the prestige that it used to have when FFG had it. Now they're just handing them out like candy, turning it basically into an open. Like, what's even the point for those of us that have, like, worked hard over, I mean, 2019 was a long season and then got killed. So, I mean, what's even the point now anyways of having a Worlds and calling it a Worlds, and might as well just have it at the Adepticon Open at that point.
That's fair. Ben, you want to take a crack at it? We'll give Ryan a chance to hang out on screen while we give our response here. So,
was gonna say he tactfully put a light there so that you couldn't see the timer in his
Yeah.
window,
That's
so
why I
you had no idea.
strategically moved Rhino.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, his
Very, very tactical. Yeah.
Tactical
So I
light.
mean, I'm always one to, and maybe this isn't what you want to hear, but I'm always one to try and look at the bright side of something. So I mean, because that's why I wear sunglasses. But I mean, I totally get where you're coming from of just like if there's so many invites being handed out, it doesn't really feel special anymore. To be fair, yes and no. I mean, I know people that are still really like better than me who still don't have an invite. The community and everything has grown so much more that there's that 200 in the group of just looking at the Facebook group, for example, and that doesn't even represent everybody who plays the game. That's still kind of a small number. And another thing, that's not going to be the same case year after year, I don't think. I think this is a weird case because they're still carrying over tickets and those from FFG from 2019, 2020. So, I mean, I think this is going to probably be the biggest worlds as far as how many they've already got out there. Yet, at the same time, I don't know that everybody who had an invite is still playing Legion by this point, because some people played in 2019 and they don't want to play anymore. And, and not everyone's going to be like, oh, you know what, I could have made this, or I did want to do this, but now here in 2023, I don't want, that's, 3 years later, I don't want to do that anymore. So, I mean, I don't know that every single invite that's been handed out is going to show up. So, honestly, I don't know how big that event's going to be. I'm just going to be able to be happy to say, like my weird, I was the first Funkoverse World Champion. I went to Worlds. That's the only, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I think you and basically stole my point at the end there. That I think part of this is that they're anticipating some attrition in the game itself between when the first Worlds invites went out and when the most recent ones are going out. And I think they're going to shoot for a large number in hopes that it's still going to be a large group to have a very successful Worlds. But I think if they kept it really tight and didn't award any in this sort of new release, new models, new sort of Battle Force world, that we wouldn't have a representation of the right now Legion players, and we would still have maybe an over-representation of folks that played 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that playing 2 or 3 years ago and still playing is great. That speaks to the longevity of the game. But I think sprinkling more in right now is not to dilute what was given out before, but to just enhance what they're hoping to see at the Worlds in Chicago.
I think one thing, if they're going to do that, and I've always been a big proponent of this, is you either burn them or you have a limit on dropping them. Because it feels like at this rate, you got 4 at all these qualifying events, to where if everyone in the top 8 has one, do you just burn them there, or are you just going to still hand them out? To where I know another group in the community has always been, they came out and said, just because you won your RPQ back in the olden days, or your local prime, does not mean you're going to be good enough for Worlds. And they use that because of dropping as an answer of maybe we should just stop dropping these invites down to I've heard some cases getting down to 6th place, because 1 through 5 already have an invite.
Yeah.
Even then it doesn't make it feel special. I remember before Legion came out, X-Wing Worlds was highly coveted, Armada Worlds was highly coveted, even though you had to apply for Armada to go into Worlds. So right now, just being that sweaty competitive player, I just got a bad taste in my mouth just because I don't feel confident in AMG's ability on how they've handled things logistically.
I think you're going to have to give them a little bit of a pass and think that after 2023 Worlds, there's going to be a bit of a reset hit, where we'll now have a clock that will run, a year-long clock. And right now we're basically accounting for, we're honoring all coupons from all companies given out at all times with no expiry dates. And we are going to have a definitive cash-in date. And then once that point clicks over, Now we're going to be back to a clean slate, even time. And I think then the points you're making around, burning or setting parameters around they're going to go X far, that I think needs to come into effect and then be held true, in perpetuity as we move forward.
Reset the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my response with that is, like, just based off of the organized play kits that they've given out, I just don't feel confident. Just because they're not putting a whole lot in there to justify the community. Like, I'm in the middle of the States. Why do I need French, Spanish, or German cards? Like,
That's probably something you do with distribution,
literally,
but...
and yeah, but like, just like basing off of that, or not having enough support, like with the previous skirmish kit of it's only two factions, and it's like, well, I have to have a perfect community, which does not exist, to actually use this kit to its fullest potential. So it kind of feels like they're, pardon my language, but kind of just half-assing it right now and flying with the seat of their pants.
Well, I think they probably have some growing room to do in all areas, but I think absorbing a game basically and then having to do everything to the best of our expectations all at once is probably a tall task. I'm not trying to give them excuses, but I think that's where they're at.
I've been more or less making the same case. Like, I don't know how long I can keep saying, AMG just absorbed like 3 huge Star Wars games and have to do everything for it, when before they were just making one game. I'm not sure how long I can give that pass, to be perfectly honest, because at a certain point, you've got to staff your people. If anything, I've just heard about people that get canned. I don't hear about, like, we're bringing in dozens of more people just for this IP or something. Like, I don't necessarily hear that news all the time. But I would like to think that they're still getting going, or at least that's my hope. Because, yeah, I kind of agree with your point. It's like these organized play kits, I was told, Marvel Crisis Protocol organized play kits are awesome, and they, include hobbying stuff, and I was just like, oh, sweet, well, then I think that organized play, and I don't know what episode of Dice Time this would have been, but I was just like, oh man, organized play for Legion sounds like it's going to be amazing if they follow that same thing. And yeah, the last couple kits have just had, like, one card in it, whereas FFG had, like, a whole slew of cards for, like, one or two things for every faction, and then, like, some dice and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, this is cool. But, then they didn't also have scenarios coming out in every kit, which is nice. It's nice to be able to play something new at least, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But yeah, I'm kind of like, what? Yeah, was it just a packaging thing that it was easier to just make one kit as opposed to 4 language kits? I don't know. I'm not sure what the choice was there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I was told that too, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. But I mean, this is also coming from the company that said they're gonna have a website out for us back in April.
And
so
hang on, let me look for it.
Yeah, and now it's August. And I heard it'll be out maybe sometime this month, if that. But with the kits, like, yeah, it's cool. We got scenarios, and I remember them saying they want to focus on the communities and use the kits to help grow those communities. But, like, for some of us, like me, I love making my store money. Like, I love giving them money, love running events, because I enjoy that, and it just makes it difficult to run events out of this one kit, to where it's like, okay, now I have to really make it and be stingy about it, which I hate, because I just want to give out all the free shit as possible. These guys, it's like, I see it more as like an investment. Like, if I'm investing, me personally, probably about, just ballpark, and maybe around 1,500. Like, I want a return on my investment. Like, yeah, it's fun, I get it. Like, at the end of the day, yeah, it's a plastic game, but, like, it's an investment like anything else.
Now
At the last, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, be a great time to mention that I just got a dynamic exit kit here for us to do some giveaways. So, just so you guys know.
Yeah, and that's the
I
other
am
thing.
excited to do that one.
Yep.
I am too, even though it, like, everyone who knows me, they're like, you hate skirmish. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely hate skirmish, but I'm willing to try it. Like, I was lucky enough. That's the other thing I was gonna say is, I'm lucky enough that my FLGS is able to get me 3 of these kits, to where I've been told like some of them can only get 1 out, if they're lucky. So it's just one of those things to either, like, if you're gonna pump them out, like actually pump them out and distribute them. Don't be like super stingy with them, because it feels like they're gonna release this, and it, like, if you don't get an order in by this date, you're never gonna see it. Like, that doesn't do any good.
Or you're gonna see it 5 months later or something crazy where they're like, oh yeah, we have a couple left, we can ship them to you. Because I know stores that have that happen where it's like, oh yeah, we got this kit, and I'm like, it's a year old, but sure. It's
like
at our
even go ahead. Yeah. Like, I'll take the year old kits too.
At our last store event that I was able to do for my local store, which is now like my local store because I moved. So this was like the first event that I was able to do at that store, and it was the Unnatural Resources. And yeah, there's like we had a very small turnout because it's not a huge community that we've got going right now. The guys there play more Armada than anything. So I mean, we had enough cards where everyone gets a card. They get the card, the expansion, the scenario card. That's what I'm trying to say. They get that, they get the tokens, and then they get like Force Push. And I was just like, I want to give out more than that. So like, I had set up, I don't think I have a picture of this anywhere, but I had a whole little thing set up because I know that there's a lot of new players in my area. And so I had a whole little station set up where I was like, hey, if you're a new player, come over to this table, and I have bags of all my extra tokens and even some of the upgrade cards that I have, like, 20 copies of. And I'm like, I don't need 20 copies of Comms Jammer or something. But, somebody who just bought a core set and they bought 2 expansions after that may not have half these upgrades. Also, having that set up, I'm just like, I want to give stuff out, I'd also just got the printing of the wave 2 of the Dice Time alt art cards that I got ready for Gen Con, and I was like, I'm giving a set of that to everyone who shows up as well, just because I've got them ready and on standby. So, speaking of, small plug, I gave out almost every single card that I went with, and I went with like over 50 of each card, so nice. That was a good weekend there. And I still have, secret surprise, I still have like 7 or 8 sets that I set aside for my favorite Legion stream, and they're gonna be getting some of those soon. Yeah.
that's our stream, Ryan, in case you didn't just pick that one up. So.
Yeah, in case I was too vague.
The one that'll so Ryan's had the longest 45 seconds in the history of our show.
Sorry. Has anyone else called on?
Yeah.
I think people are waiting for you to.
Okay.
Not that I'm kicking you off, but I want to hold on.
Yeah.
Before you go, because I don't want to inflate you too much. But last week I gave you some good accolades. You weren't here, tuning into our episode. But
whoa,
sorry.
No, that's fine.
You
probably had something going on. I was going to say that there was a comment up here earlier, Shonda saying, good to see Ryan tonight off the MVP performance for calling the games last week. So again, I'll just give you a shout because you're here now. Appreciated that. Thank you. Went over great. I was glad to have somebody helping us out, which was most excellent. There we go. Fair enough. Somebody did mention it would have been better if you had a jersey, but that's a moot point at this point. Ben, I hope that you got to rock the jersey at Gen Con at least one of the days.
I was the only one to rock the jersey at Gen Con. I was sad.
Good. Well, fair enough.
I mean, I was happy because I was there and I'd rocked it, but folks, I mean, like,
I'm not sure how many folks who
needed
jerseys were at Gen Con. So
apparently 0. I didn't see him.
Apparently, so Stan also saying that Ryan was awesome, which is good. We'll do
as
some
in
more.
Past tense.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I think he meant your previous.
Yeah,
performance.
You're no longer awesome.
But we just still have a few minutes, so we'll let Ryan say his piece. We'll see him out. We'll see if anybody else wants to jump in. But like I said, look at that, and we have Andrew calling in. So I'm going to answer Andrew's call. I'm going to put him in the waiting room. Go ahead, Ryan. Finish up, and we'll see.
Yeah, and hopefully if Pally is still watching, he needs to hit me up because he might be coming down to my place this Saturday, and hopefully we'll play a game. So either we'll live stream it and or take pictures and let everyone know. So if you're in chat or in the Discord, start blowing him up and letting him know he needs to get a hold of me.
All right, we'll all check
Unless
we'll check out Ryan's stream.
Unless Andrew has a burning question for me specifically, I'm also gonna head out. So
You bet.
I'll have him answer that when he comes in, and then I'll probably dip as well.
Okay, well I can ask him right now because I can see him on there. Andrew, do you got a question specifically for Ben, or can we let him go?
No, we can go.
All right, see ya.
Does he
Thanks,
have a
Andrew.
question
You're
for
the
me?
best.
All right, see you, Ryan. Cheers.
No problem.
See ya.
All right,
See you
Ben.
guys.
Thanks.
Okay.
See ya.
All right, let's drop Andrew in here. We'll take Andrew's call, and then if anybody else wants to call him, we got another space, and then we'll finish up here, and then because we'll be at the time. And all right, Andrew, I'll drop you in there. I'll give you the everybody else timer because Ryan's it didn't work. It didn't work, Andrew. But
No.
go ahead. You're on the clock. Go ahead.
It's a thought that counts, right?
Yes, exactly. We try.
No. So I guess the only thing I would have to contribute here is about the scenarios. Like I said before in the chat, I ran back the Dianoga a few times. I felt like, it felt like every time I was playing a different Dianoga scenario, just trying to interpret the rules and all the nuances as to when the thing moved, when it didn't move. I'm realizing, I was like, oh, it's supposed to move here, but not here. But then it moves on this time when it's sunny outside and it's Tuesday morning at 5 a.m.
No, I can feel that. I was going back to that scenario card so many times. It's like a new unit with 74 keywords and multiple triggers.
Yeah.
And so like I said, when we get it on our stream, not to make it more difficult, but I got one special little parameter that we might try to press to make my life even more difficult. But I have you on there, Brian. I'm just meeting you because I just got a background between the two, but I'll get you in 1 second. But let me ask you this, Andrew. Did you, despite all the nuances of timing, did you just find that to be like one of the craziest games of Legion you ever played?
It was definitely crazy. There were some games where it felt like we were playing ping pong or table tennis with Dianoga. And there are other games that my opponent just wanted nothing to do with it. So they intentionally just buried it in the back corner and said, we're not going to deal with this at all for the rest of the game.
So I love that you said that because my two games were exactly like that. The second game we soccer kicked it every single time. It was like the worst game of like ping pong ever. And then in the second game, about halfway through, we realized that we both can put Dianoga in the corner, and so we just buried Dianoga and just tried to mad dash for points. So yeah, I think both strategies are valid, but I really think that going first with the Dianoga push is key. And if you can get something that can really move it far, like for example, I use my spiders double moving to start both games, even though that's not the most ideal use of spiders. That extra bit of movement that I was getting off that deployment really helped me push the Dianoga deep. So, yeah.
Yeah. My last game, it was far enough after the initial release of the Dianoga scenario to where we were able to use battle forces. So I ran Echo Base with 4 Tauntauns and just kept and bum rushed the vents for early points, or at least tried to. But unfortunately, I played the one person in the tournament who's bigger brained than I am. So he just set up a wall of standbys when I tried my Alpha Strike with Tauntaun. So I'm like, oh, that didn't work.
Right. Yeah, and speeder bikes are unique, right? Because repulsors don't trigger or feel the impact of that. So if you are able to kind of find that balance between something that can push and then something that can harass and not be hurt by the Dianoga, that's another way of really doing it. But I think the big brain play was seeing Vader on the table was just, I was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be really good here because having Compel, having the Snow Troopers, having the Infinite Courage bubble, and the Dianoga doesn't really hit that much for damage. I mean, at least my experience is, it's 1 out of 6, but it just didn't come up too often. In all the rolls ever, only once was a double surge rolled, and that was pretty impactful. But it was a late game. But droids don't like all that suppression. Taking Inspiring Presence is another key big brain play if you're playing droids. Like never has there been a better use of that card with droids, but. Yep.
Yeah, and I felt prioritizing also lead by example.
Oh yes,
Uh,
no, that
yeah,
good
yeah.
option there.
Well, I'll have to. Well, I'm covering leading scenarios. Going back, turning back the clock a bit to the earlier scenarios from FFG, because there's been discussions about playing it, but then finding that some of the scenarios did not age well. Off the hand, I can think of either the skate pod or down ATST. Because both of those were introduced before like Cassian or Iden with infiltrate or Mandos with speed 3 abilities. The one thing I liked from the Dinoga is that whether they did intentionally or not, whether that they learned from that or not, or they just had enough foresight to realize, hey, these keywords just make this really oppressive and not make a scenario not fun.
No, I think they absolutely learn right because I think it's written right on there, right? No infiltrate,
It
no
is
bounty, and no
no secret mission.
Yeah, no, I think
Right.
that's fantastic, and I think that just speaks to. I mean, there's always going to be a moment of time when something comes out, and then immediately something else comes out, and basically nullifies that or makes a need to go back and errata that. The problem is when things come out versus the timeline when they get errated. There's always that
Right.
space, right? So I'm always for, especially in something like that where a scenario, I think that if there's an agreed upon rule set or alteration to the rules and players are agreed upon that, and we did that with the Dianoga because people were playing that sort of after the command hand sort of trigger wrong. We just ruled that, hey, since that was played this way for round 1, we're just going to keep that way. Everyone's on a level playing field. That's what you were playing under. We're just going to keep that for round 2. So we just made that one small adjustment, and I don't think there's a world in scenario play where whatever your play group is that you can't make special allowances like that. So,
Of course,
no,
absolutely.
for sure. All right, Andrew. Anything last for us? I mean, you're welcome to stay because I don't think we have anybody else. So I'll let you ride out the window if you like. We'll get Brian in as last caller. But anything more for us?
No, I'll stick around.
Okay, sure. We'll fill the box. All right, Brian. You got the last time slot for the evening. You got. Or we'll run the everybody. Should we give them the 45 seconds? I don't know. We'll give them the everybody else time. It's all right. We'll put them on Australian time. It's actually
no, but his time were already expired because he's in the future.
Exactly. All right, Brian. What do you got for us?
Well, if I get a 45-second like Ryan did, then I'm fine. Yeah, I just wanted to pipe in, and I hadn't seen too much. Pipe in, say hello, and hadn't seen too much of Gen Con. But yeah, seeing some of the tables and some of the armies and stuff was really cool to see. And putting my spin on the world, having worlds tickets available. I think that I agree that they're making up for the last couple of years of absolute trash that we've had to put up with in general of the world. That wasn't an AMG reference. That was it just like COVID, all sorts of travel issues and blah blah blah, and not having something to be able to play. If we said no to the people in 2019, 2020, how would that make them sort of feel? And would they be kept as, like, if you were someone that had a 2019 ticket and then they went, well, it's no longer there, we're just going to leave you in the wind. How would you feel about it being not included? Should
Jason
they have
and I
a
wouldn't like
separate
it because we got 2019
worlds?
tickets.
Yeah, there you go. So how would that make you feel, sort of thing? And should they have a separate past worlds and then have another worlds? I don't think so. I think having a big competition, like for us, we've got some in Australia that have 2019, 2020s. We actually have some invites to give away in a week and a half to go with our our Oceanic League Grand Championships, and then we've got another one coming up soon. Our wholesale distributor is going to be announcing something in the next week or so, and that there's going to be another competition that hopefully we'll have a chance. Hopefully, myself and Aaron will have a chance at getting a ticket to coming over and to Adepticon. Since we've run things for the Oceanic, we can't get tickets for that one, which would be cool. And I'd be thoroughly happy to go into a competition that has 200 possible players, which I would expect would only whittle down to 120, maybe 140 sort of players.
I'm not necessarily seeing the downside. I understand that there may be a little bit of a dilution factor, or maybe there's a little bit more trickle down than there was previous. As they didn't have the same parameters to trickle them down. But I think there will be a part of me that when I see an event, and if I do experience an event of 200 plus players, that I will feel good about the game of Legion. Like I will feel like, hey,
exactly.
look at us putting on events that are rivaling some of the long-standing, pre-existing huge games out there, and I mean huge games by like a big following and real deep, rich histories of having big events. And I think Legion can get there. I think this will be an opportunity to see if we can be there. I think that the invite honoring is a good way of doing it. I think it preserves good relationships with the community. But I'm also thinking that there may still be the exclusivity that some are looking for going forward. But we're not there right now. This is a circumstance that's caused a circumstance, and it will be a one-off and will always be a one-off. But who's to say that the Worlds isn't 200 people in future years, where they just have more events or give out more invites?
And as a percentage, like for us, we've got a couple of thousand in our Australian group. We're gonna be sending maximum 20 people, I would say, have invites. I know we're gonna have 4 given away in a week and a half, another 4 coming up by the end of the year, and then any that we've had previous in the last couple of years already given away. I'm not sure how many are actually there, but we're going to have 20 possible people, at an estimation, out of a couple of thousand players in ours. And then, I see Ryan's questions. Who's going to run the event? I don't know, but I am keen to see how they deal with it. If it's a bad experience, then maybe it'll leave a bad taste in people's mouth. But I don't think we can judge them on that yet. For what I've seen and what I see coming up in the future and what I've seen in the last 6 months, they have been quite focused on Legion, and I think it's getting better. It's getting better and better. I'm not going to make excuses for things that they've made, but things that they have done in the past, or how they've dealt with things. But I see it getting better, and I really am I'm really positive about how it's going to look, how Adepticon's going to look, especially with 200 players, 200 like-minded people playing Legion in a large competition, chatting Legion, talking Legion, seeing other people's armies, seeing terrain, who's supporting it, and just connecting with a whole big bunch of other players. I think it's going to be fantastic. And there you go. I've done Ryan's trick and gone over my timer.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say just to end off here, just turn the light right on because it's got a little darker. But I think that and I only use this example because I don't want to downput anyone else. But if you look at what we have done in the course of nearly 200 episodes from the start, I will be the first to tell you that we've had an evolution that has shown us to be better. Are we the best, or have we done everything, top notch? Absolutely not. Has there been a trajectory of improvement, for improvement? Yes, for sure. Are we better at what we're doing now than we were 50 episodes ago? Yes. Will we be better in the next 50 episodes? Likely, yes. But I think at the same time, people are giving us enough leeway, the appropriate accolades and criticisms and opinions, and are pushing us in the right direction. AMG has not done one big event yet. So we basically have to allow that to happen. They should allow the players, the fan base, to have input, to give opinions, to give feedback towards improvement. Once we have something, they allow that, and then we see, what the fruits of our opinions and our perspectives. If we see that translate into a better event the next time, whatever the next event is, I think that's what we have to hope for. We can say that we don't think they're going to be able to do this and not able to do that and won't be able to do that, but all that is pure speculation because we have no proof of that. Is it going to be too big for them? Maybe, but they'll probably learn from that too. But I think they're also trying to cater to the community and honor those invites, and they're willing to just have one big event and everyone shows up. Well, they might have an oh no moment, but we'll power through that. But I think they're trying to hedge it. I think they're kind of hedging their bets on what Ben was suggesting earlier, that maybe a few of those invites are just gone to attrition. But let's not just start cutting off people, and let's not eliminate people from right now. Because if you didn't have more invites to give out now, then what are you competing for? If you go to an event and it's just for a prize, and you're like, well, last year this same event would have given a world's invite, but now you've cut it off and now I don't get that. Well, now you're hurting those individual events potentially from having people go to them. And I can't say that for certain, but that might be something we might run into. Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to lump you, Ryan, into with anyone else. I'm not sure where I actually did that, but not
don't
trying
worry.
to lump you into.
He's
and
like nobody else.
I'm not disagreeing with I'm not disagreeing. Disagreeing with you. That's your. I have a slightly different view on it. But that's I don't. I'm not bagging you for your opinion at all. I look at it. I just look at it from a different angle.
All right, we'll do closing thoughts, Andrew, then Jace, and then we'll finish for the evening.
Yeah, no, I think great discussion. And I do want to say, I don't remember the exact moment where I jumped into the to the Legion Academy terrain studio family, but I have to say it's been definitely enjoyable to be a part of this group, on all the work that you, Sean, Jace, and Anthony, week after week, whether it's the Tuesday night podcast or the Friday night fight streams. Just awesome job. Keep up the great work. And I hope that this crew gets another opportunity, like you did for, I think it was Dallas Open you guys got to stream. Mm-hmm. I think the work that you put in week after week speaks for itself here, and I think everybody in the chat will probably back me up on it. Maybe Ryan will have a controversial opinion, but
we even have a space for Ryan in here, so we're pretty all encompassing, I think.
There you go. But yeah, definitely, yeah. Like I said, the work speaks for itself. The quality that you guys put out, and like you said, Sean, the desire every week, every episode to get better, to improve the quality. Whether it's a new little feature here or a new piece of equipment to use to make it overall a better viewing experience. Great work. Keep up great work, and I look forward to another 200 episodes for sure.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. That was unsolicited and totally appreciated. All the same, Andrew. We'll look forward to entertaining you with another 200
This was
episodes.
not a paid sponsorment, by the way. Andrew, what's your email for the e-transfer?
All right, Jace, you got the last say here.
Always. Yep. Nope. I think it's great. I think I love the world conversation. I I just think it's good that they finally actually have set worlds. They're, allowing new people to come. They're allowing us old people who have had invites for a long time. I mean,
Jace just called
there
himself old.
none of these events I would have been able to go to get an invite again. Yeah, I feel old. But like Sean said, I think we just need to give them a chance to see what they actually do with it first before we jump too hard on them because, it seems they're trying a fair bit harder than they were when they first started now, which is just a good sign.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I think there's lots of cool things that they're doing. I just think trying to do everything cool and to the level that we're all anticipating is difficult for sure. Putting out cool models, doing scenario packs, putting out prize kits, running events, getting a website. It's all things that individually we can nitpick for sure. And yeah, do I care much about the website? No, I don't care. Do I care about getting the packages for the models right? Yes, that's on the top of my list to get that right. We saw some work course correction to get that correct, and so that's for me, that's my priority area. Is cutting off worlds at a certain point, that impactful to me? No, but is that high on somebody else's list? Absolutely. So we all have a priority area within the game, and certainly we can have conversations that are going to be flavored by our perspectives and our thoughts on that. If they're moving in the right direction on all things, regardless of speed, I think that is still a positive, a net positive at the end of the day. So that's where I'm gonna kind of leave my thought on that. We can revisit all these topics as of course we always will. Some conversation going on here about how. If you reversed your number, Patrick, you're
it's just
still,
about my age.
You're still older. I was gonna say you're still older than Jace. So. Yeah, that's
yes, that is accurate.
It's 100% accurate. Yes, I math. I just forget that I played an AAT last round, so there's that. But I'm glad nobody came to call me out in my group, which is fine. So shout out to all the folks in the league. The league round starts tomorrow, so you guys will get Pally to activate all those things. We'll get the league games running. What's Bernard saying in here? Jace is not the kid. Jace is the legend. Show respect. Go, you're the place of greatness. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Well, fair enough. We'll tell the legend to hurry up and get camping so that we can get some more Friday night fights in because. The legend can't play from his tent, so he needs to.
He's busy. He's busy at the moment making transfers across to Bernard's accounts.
Yeah, exactly. Like, geez, whatever Andrew had to deposit or transfer over. I don't know what Jace has been paying Bernard, but it must be substantial sums of money. So to be labeled as a legend and such. So. Pally, I'll ping you the screenshots, Pally, so that you can get all the boards activated. So, and by the way, Ryan wants you to text him. So there we go. We'll end the stream there. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Brian.
Or just yell down the
thank
the
you.
hall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where Ryan is or who's in whose basement. Ben apparently is somewhere in Jace's house, and there's all kinds of weirdness happening. So Andrew apparently is. In your house, Bryant, in the future, and you didn't even know that.
I'm just glad I'm all over all the way across the world in Australia.
But are you really? So, all right, guys. Well, that'll end off that episode. Like I said, next week we'll see if we got any AMG drops, but I think we'll do a little bit of a Lone Star Open / Gen Con top fours in each comparison. I think that'll be a fun, robust conversation. We can see what kind of trends we have, what's emerging in the meta, if you will, if you want to even call there's a meta. We can get into that conversation next week as well. So, like I said, go look at all the cool things. Go check out the Patreon. Go check out the social medias. Follow us there. Brian does a good job updating the Facebooks, so you can follow there. Go check out the Discord. If you're not a member of the Discord, definitely come join us over there. Keep track of the league. Join in the general chat. You can find us all over the place. So not a cent, never take money from a legend. Fair enough. So Bernard's just cashing in on your presence apparently. So I'm not sure how much milk and bread you can buy with Jace's presence, but I haven't been able to translate it into much of anything. So, and Ryan's telling us there is no meta, hot take or not. We'll let Ryan speak next week with 43 seconds and see if that keeps him under 10 minutes or not. All right, guys.
This is also the same guy who says vehicles aren't a thing, but we'll leave it there.
I mean, I was going under that premise. That's why I forgot that I played an AAT, because I didn't even.
It just suddenly vanished out of your list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just suddenly disappeared from the tabletop.
I am the clock.
Yes, this guy,
boy.
holy smokes, we better shut this down before we get demonetized just for Ryan's comments.
Yeah, let's.
All right, guys, have a great night. And
Well, I have your title for your segment next week.
Oh, you do.
With all the Shadow Collective out, you can call it the Day of the Black Sun.
Okay, they are the Black Sun. Okay.
No, the Day of the Black. The Day of the Black Sun.
Gotcha. Day of the Black Sun. All right. Well,
the Day of the Black Sun. That's a good one.
Okay, I'll put it on. I'll put it on next week, Andrew, just for you. And if I forget, well then just remind me. So.
Yeah,
okay.
guys,
have a great night. Pikes are the new meta. Timothy with the shout out there. So all right. Have a great night, everyone. Cheers.
Good night.
Yeah. All right.